Before you scroll, before you skip, before you tell yourself that you will watch this later, understand something clearly. Later is the place where your goals go to die. Later is where discipline disappears. Later is where your potential slowly fades without you even noticing. And if you leave now, nothing will change. Not tomorrow, not next week, not next year. Because the cycle you are stuck in will continue exactly as it has been. The same habits, the same distractions, the same unfinished promises you make to yourself every night. And deep down you already feel this, that quiet frustration, that voice inside you that knows you are capable of more but cannot seem to break free from what is holding you back. And the reason you feel this way is not because you lack intelligence. It is not because you lack opportunity. It is because your mind has not been trained, and an untrained mind does not serve you. It controls you. It pulls you toward what is easy and pushes you away from what is necessary. It convinces you to delay, to avoid, to escape. And it does this so subtly that you rarely question it. You simply follow, and in following these impulses day after day, you build a life that feels out of alignment with who you truly want to become. And the most dangerous part is that this does not happen in one dramatic moment. It happens slowly, quietly, in small decisions that seem harmless. Checking your phone one more time, postponing a task for a few minutes, choosing comfort over effort just for today. And those small decisions accumulate, they shape your habits, and your habits shape your identity. And your identity shapes your future, and if you do not interrupt this process, you will wake up one day realizing that years have passed but you are still standing in the same place, with the same goals, the same excuses, and the same regrets. And that realization can be painful, but it can also be the turning point, because once you truly see the pattern, once you truly understand that the problem is internal, you gain the ability to change it. But change requires awareness, and awareness requires honesty, and honesty requires you to look at yourself without excuses, without blame, without distraction, to see clearly how your thoughts influence your actions, how your actions reinforce your habits, and how your habits create your reality. And when you begin to see this clearly, you begin to understand that your life is not controlled by external circumstances as much as you once believed. It is controlled by how you respond to them, and that response is shaped by your mind. And if your mind is scattered, impulsive, and reactive, your life will reflect that. But if your mind is focused, disciplined, and intentional, your life will begin to move in a completely different direction. And the first step toward building that kind of mind is recognizing the forces that are currently controlling you, because you cannot change what you do not understand. And one of the strongest forces influencing your behavior is your addiction to comfort, your constant desire to feel good, to avoid discomfort, to escape anything that requires effort. And this desire is reinforced every single day by the environment around you, a world designed to keep you entertained, to keep you distracted, to keep you comfortable. And the more you give into it, the weaker your ability to handle discomfort becomes. And yet discomfort is where growth happens. It is where you build strength, where you develop discipline, where you expand your limits. But instead of moving toward it, you move away from it, and every time you do that, you reinforce the belief that discomfort should be avoided. And that belief becomes a barrier that keeps you from taking action, from trying new things, from pushing yourself beyond your current limits. And over time this barrier grows stronger, until even small challenges feel overwhelming, and you begin to doubt yourself, to question your abilities, to convince yourself that you are not capable. But the truth is, you are not incapable, you are untrained, and training your mind requires repetition. It requires consistently choosing what is difficult over what is easy, what is necessary over what is comfortable. And this is not something you do once, it is something you do every day, in small moments, in decisions that no one else sees, in the choice to get up when you feel like staying in bed, in the choice to focus when you feel like getting distracted. in the choice to continue when you feel like quitting, and these small choices are powerful because they shape your identity. They reinforce the belief that you are someone who takes action, someone who follows through, someone who does not give in to every impulse. And as that identity becomes stronger, your behavior begins to change naturally. You no longer rely on motivation, you rely on discipline. And discipline is what separates those who achieve their goals from those who only talk about them, because motivation is temporary. It comes and goes depending on your mood, your environment, your energy, but discipline remains. It allows you to act regardless of how you feel, and the more you practice it, the stronger it becomes, until it becomes part of who you are. And alongside this need to overcome comfort, you must also learn to deal with distraction, because distraction is one of the biggest obstacles to focus. And focus is one of the most valuable skills you can develop. In a world where attention is constantly being pulled in different directions, the ability to concentrate deeply on one thing is rare, and because it is rare, it is valuable. But every time you allow yourself to be distracted, every time you switch tasks, every time you interrupt your own focus, you weaken that ability, and over time it becomes harder to stay present, harder to complete meaningful work, harder to make progress. And this is why so many people feel busy but unproductive. They are constantly doing something but rarely finishing anything. And breaking this pattern requires intentional effort. It requires you to create boundaries, to reduce distractions, to train your mind to stay with one task for longer periods of time. And at first this will feel uncomfortable, because your mind is used to constant stimulation, but with practice, that discomfort fades, and focus becomes easier. And as your focus improves, so does the quality of your work, the speed of your progress, and the clarity of your thinking. And then there is the challenge of overthinking, the tendency to analyze, to doubt, to imagine outcomes that have not even happened. And this overthinking creates hesitation. It creates fear, it creates inaction. And while thinking is necessary for planning and problem solving, excessive thinking becomes a trap. It keeps you stuck in your head instead of moving forward in reality. And the only way to break that cycle is through action, because action cuts through doubt. It provides clarity, it moves you forward. And even if the action is not perfect, it is still better than standing still, because progress is built on movement, not perfection. And the more you act, the more you learn. The more you adjust, the more you improve. And this process gradually replaces doubt with confidence. Not because you eliminate uncertainty, but because you become comfortable with it. You learn to move forward despite not having all the answers, and that is what allows you to grow. And as you continue to develop this awareness, this discipline, this focus, you begin to experience a shift in how you see yourself, a shift in how you approach challenges, a shift in how you respond to your thoughts. And this shift is subtle at first, but over time it becomes significant. It changes the trajectory of your life. Because you are no longer reacting unconsciously, you are acting intentionally. And that is where true power lies, not in controlling everything around you, but in controlling how you respond to it. And when you reach that point, when you begin to master your own mind, you realize something important, that the life you wanted was never out of reach. It was simply waiting for you to become the person capable of creating it. And that process begins now, not tomorrow, not later, but now, in this moment, with the decision to take control, to become aware, to choose discipline over comfort, action over avoidance, focus over distraction. And to repeat that choice again and again until it becomes who you are. There comes a moment in life when you realize that nothing outside of you is truly stopping you, no person, no situation, no lack of opportunity, but something within you keeps holding you back, something invisible yet powerful. And that realization can either frustrate you or awaken you, because once you understand that the real challenge is internal, you also understand that the solution is within your reach. And yet most people never reach that point of awareness because they are constantly distracted, constantly reacting, constantly pulled in different directions by their thoughts and emotions, and so they live on autopilot, repeating the same patterns again and again, expecting different results but never changing the way they think or act. And if you look closely at your daily routine, you will see this pattern clearly. The moments when you know what you should do but you don't do it, the moments when you choose comfort over growth, the moments when you delay something important for something easy. And these small decisions seem insignificant at the time, but over days and weeks and months they shape your entire life. And the reason these patterns are so hard to break is because they are rooted in the way your mind operates. Your mind is not naturally designed for long-term success or discipline. It is designed for survival, for comfort, for avoiding pain and seeking pleasure. And while this was useful in the past, in